Zoom Head 6 is a handy portable audio recorder that can record high-quality audio. You can use it to record podcasts, audio for video, just like I'm doing right now, and being a portable recorder, even recording nature sounds outside. This is a quick overview of the Zoom Head 6, the portable audio recorder, and how do I use it and all the features and everything. Let's get into it. Currently, I'm using the Lewitt LCT 440 Pure, a condenser microphone directly plugged into the Zoom Head 6. The gain dial is set to 5 out of 10. To record high-quality videos, unless you have a camera with XLR input, like the Sony FX3, the one that I really want to buy eventually, it is highly recommended to record audio in a dedicated audio recorder to get the highest quality audio. This is where the Zoom Head 6 come into play. A short disclaimer, this video is not sponsored. I purchased this Zoom Head 6 with my own money. Let's talk about some of the features. The Zoom Head 6 is compatible with 6 interchangeable microphone capsules. It comes in the box with the XY capsule that also has a TRRS 1/4-inch port. And this is a line-in port, by the way. So you can plug in, you can bring audio from any other source into the Zoom Head 6. The Zoom Head 6 has 4 XLR TRS combo jacks, so you can plug in a microphone or 4 microphones or 4 music instruments or a combination of both. It has 4 independent gain controls for all of the 4 main channels, so you can individually select the gain using these dials, which is super handy. It does have phantom power for all of these 4 main channels, but keep in mind that the phantom power does not apply to any of the capsules. So if you connect any capsule here, the phantom power does not cross over to these attachments. It only applies to the built-in main channels, but you get the standard 12, 24, or 48 volts of power. I do like the large display here as well, and you can see all of the meters as well for individual tracks. It's not just lights blinking or some other weird stuff. You can literally see the meters and how they're tracking, which is super handy. Now you can directly record the audio onboard the SD card. You can also send the audio to the computer, but I'll talk about that in a bit. You can record up to 24-bit 96 kilohertz audio recordings. Currently I'm recording at 24-bit and 48 kilohertz. Now this does allow for multi-track audio recording either onboard the SD card or through the USB. Currently I am recording using multi-track, but it doesn't matter because I have a single microphone going. It is really helpful because if you're recording a podcast, like a 4-person podcast or a multi-person podcast, you can individually adjust the gain and adjust everything about the audio because it spits out 6 different files for each of the track if you're recording it on board the SD card. Now it also has some built-in effects, just basic effects like you can have some low cut filtering, you can have some compression, some limiter. I'm not doing any of those effects right now. I'm not using any of those, but sometimes, so for example, if I'm using my overhead microphone, I sometimes do add maybe a bit of a limiter or a bit of a compression, depends on the situation, depends on my videos, just to have a decent quality audio. But you have that option to use if you wanted to. Now it does have a USB port. Now the USB port can have multiple purposes, 3 different use cases. So first of all, you can use the USB port for data exchange. So you can plug the USB port on this, connect it to your computer, and you can use it as an SD card reader. So you don't even have to take the SD card out of this unit. You can plug it directly to your computer and you can transfer all your files. It also allows you to use it as an audio interface, a multi-channel or stereo USB audio interface. You can use it for PC, Mac, or even iPad. So you can literally have this device to record audio, or you can plug it to your computer and use it as an audio interface, a multi-track audio interface. You might need to install some drivers. I've never used it as an audio interface, but I've seen some videos or I've seen some tutorials that shows how to do that. You can have different tracks all being sent separately to the computer so you can record in Audition, Logic, or whatever software you're using. It has a 1/4-inch mount in the back. This is how I've attached it to this little Manfrotto Pixie mount. And usually what I do is I have the recorder attached to my tripod right underneath the camera. This just allows me to have the recorder not on the desk, because the desk is a precious real estate that is very limited a lot of times. So it allows you to have it off other things. You can attach it to any or other grip gear as well. There are so many options open up once you have that 1/4 inch mount. It has multiple ways for powering it. So it accepts 4 AA batteries, which according to Zoom allows for a 20-hour of operation. I don't believe that number. I don't think I get 20 hours from the batteries, but a couple of good things. So first of all, having AA batteries is such a good thing. I am not a huge fan of things that have built-in batteries, which means that the product will last until the batteries are good. Once the batteries are dead, the unit or whatever you're using or whatever that thing is, it's kind of like an e-waste, unless the company that produces that thing has some sort of a support where you can ship the product back to them and they can replace the battery. Having user replaceable batteries is such an underrated thing. So let's talk about the pros and cons. Audio quality. I think the audio quality on this thing is really good. Now, I don't have any measurements of what the self noise is or what the noise floor is, because I'm not doing any scientific tests. Secondly, I love the fact that it has interchangeable microphone capsules, because you can attach different sort of microphone capsules. There's a shotgun microphone, there's a mono microphone. There are a bunch of microphone accessories that you can buy. You don't even have to buy a new one. You can probably buy something used and that will be good as well. It is a small form factor. It is portable, but I feel like if you plug 4 XLR cables, it is no longer that portable, of course. But it is, because of the size, it is way too versatile and with all of the different functionality. You can also power this device using USB, which right now I'm plugged in my Anker battery, plus I have 4 batteries inside, which means that I have redundant power. So if I unplug the USB, the unit will still keep on working, or if I remove the batteries or if the built-in batteries die, the unit will keep on working. And so it kind of gives you a redundant source of power, which gives you a lot more peace of mind. The 1/4 inch mount is also really good. So, attach it to different places. The fact that you can use it as an audio interface, you can also directly transfer data via the USB. Now let's talk about some of the negative things, or the things that I'm not a huge fan of. So first of all, the build quality is not that good, or I would probably say that the build quality is Zoom's build quality. Zoom is not famous for how well their products are made, the material that they use. Parts of it look and feel like they're expensive or they feel good, but like the battery door is just a flimsy little door. So don't expect you to drop this and not break it. So you have to baby it as much as possible. So yeah, the build quality is not that good. Secondly, the batteries don't last as much. I mean, Zoom claims that you can use it for 20 hours. I've had to replace my batteries quite frequently. And that brings me to the next point that I don't like about it. It has a phantom drain problem. For some reason, if I'm not using it for a couple days, the batteries will slowly drain even though the unit is not even powered on. So there's a phantom drain problem with this unit. Just a little tip that if you're not using it, just remove the batteries so you don't waste the batteries. I don't like the fact that it uses the mini USB port. It just cannot have USB-C because it came out a long time ago. The next thing, or the last thing that I don't like about it, which is the biggest thing about the Zoom Head 6, the gain range of this unit. If you don't have a negative 20 dB pad, which by the way I forgot to mention in the features, it has a negative 20 dB pad for each of these main channels, which means that if you are bringing in a line in from, let's say, a music instrument or somewhere that has a much hotter signal coming in, you can enable or switch to the negative 20 dB of gains to level the audio a little bit better. So if you're bringing in audio instruments into this unit, you have the ability to have a negative dB of gain. But anyways, if the negative dB is off, the default gain range for this is 55.5 decibels of gain. Now 55.5 decibels is just not enough for dynamic microphones. Now I have here the Shure SM7B. Now this is notorious for how gain hungry this microphone is. I think it needs around 60 decibels of gain to sound good. And 60 decibel doesn't mean that your audio interface or a recorder has 60 decibels of gain, because that means that you're maxing it out, which means that even if you max out the gain on the Zoom H 6, the microphone will not sound good. You are now adding a lot of hiss and self noise. That's just one example. Most dynamic microphones are around 55 to 60 decibels of gain range. If you're using condenser microphones like the Lewitt LCT 440 or any other microphones that are condenser, you're good. But if you want to use dynamic microphones, you will have to use something like a Cloudlifter or other inline preamps to boost the audio signals, because otherwise they just won't sound that good. The way that I use it is, as I mentioned earlier, that I use this recorder as my main audio recorder for overhead microphones. The Sennheiser MKH50, the Sennheiser MKH416, the Rode NTG3, different microphones that I have, and I absolutely love how it sounds. And this is usually just physically permanently attached right next to my main camera, right next to my overhead microphone, and it never moves. I never touch it besides putting in an SD card and recording, and I always trust that I will get a good quality audio out of it. Let me know in the comments below what you think about the Zoom H 6. Do you already have one? Are you planning to buy one? Or if you have any questions about this? And yeah, see you in the next video. Cheers.